Right. Now we begin with looking at the basic meaning of the mission. You can go through your study material also. It's an enduring statement of purpose that distinguishes one firm from the others. It identifies the scope of a firm in terms of its operations, in terms of its product and market. So what we need to understand is the mission translates the vision, okay, into a workable document in terms of what all should be done by the company in order to ultimately reach the final goal or the final vision or the final purpose. So the mission defines what the company should do in terms of its operations, in terms of its product or service, in terms of its markets, in terms of all the set of activities that the company should plan and achieve at every level in terms of all the different functions, so that they are able to ultimately reach the end purpose. So quickly, what are the characteristics? The mission, the pathway defines the basic purpose in operational terms. Please understand that. The vision is a statement that tells you what the company desires to achieve over a long future point of time, and the mission will tell the people or the stakeholders as to how they are going to achieve their vision and how they are going to achieve their basic purpose in terms of practical operations that the company should carry out. So obviously the characteristic, like just like the vision statement, the mission statement should also be clear. It should be very precise. It should motivate people to work together and work in an inspired way, work with their optimum level of efficiency. It should also be very practical and achievable. It should be realistic, so that the people in the organization are able to achieve and move forward week by week, month by month, year by year. Okay. So this is very important. It should be feasible first of all, and it should communicate, as I put here, it should communicate the map, the route you take in order to reach your vision. Now if you were traveling to a far off place, you would keep a map in front of you to look at how much of the journey you have covered, where are you at the present point of time, how much more of the journey you have to cover in order to reach your end destination. In the same way, we are looking at how the company will prepare the map in terms of the mission, and the map is prepared keeping in mind the vision document of the organization, right? So having said this, we need to now look at what happens once these two basic documents are prepared. The next important aspect would be for the company now to translate this what do we call it, to translate this mission document into clear objectives. The framing of objectives will take place on the basis of the pathway or on the basis of the mission statement of the organization. So objectives give us time-based goals, time-based targets that the company has to achieve in different areas, in different functions, in different ways, by different groups of people. Because we all know that in a firm there are a number of interrelated, several coordinated activities that have to take place if they will all together have to move forward and reach their end purpose. So the mission statement is translated, or it is broken down into a number of objectives, right? So these objectives have to be set out in clear and precise terms. Sometimes the objectives are broader in scope. For example, number of the lower level objectives employee level objectives, for example, how much each department and each employee in each department will have to achieve, may be spelled out in very clear and precise terms. And the divisional objective or the higher level objective of achieving a certain, let us say, a certain market share, or in terms of certain quality dimension, those will also have to be specified. All these objectives, groups of objectives, whether they are functional based, employee based, or division based, all these have to be set up in very clear terms. Okay, they may be broader in scope, or they may be sometimes very specific and narrow in scope. So both are possible. It depends on who and at what level and for what purpose the objective is being set out. So it may be set out for short term and long term both. Objectives generally have a hierarchy. Hierarchy means there are levels in an organization. So there is the lower level, there is a middle level, there is the top level. So objectives have a hierarchy. This hierarchy is very important because the lower level are responsible for carrying out all the operations and ensuring that the top level plans are translated into action. So the operations and the actions will have to be performed here by groups of people belonging to different departments, maybe belonging to different divisions, but all of them will have to be responsible for their actions, and these actions have a time and a resource limitation, as all of you know. So it has to be that the action has to be carried out within a specific time frame, right? So this will have to be first of all looked into very carefully. And objectives have a hierarchy. The middle layer of management will have a different, slightly higher set of objectives which they will have to work at, which may not be very specified as in the case of the lower level, but nevertheless these people are responsible for carrying out whatever work has to be done in the most efficient way, and for that they will prepare their time based plans. And again at the higher level you have more of how the company will have to position itself, and what is the what should drive the company in terms of its future and in terms of its new technology or perhaps new innovations, etc. So objectives at the higher level and objectives at the lower level are not the same, although the objectives are all enabling the company to move forward on the same pathway to reach their vision. Then objectives have to also reflect the social responsibility of a firm. The company is here to serve society ultimately, and companies use societal resources in order to get things done. So companies must be socially responsible. They will have to commit themselves to doing what will ultimately benefit society in the long run. So that is very important. And as and when there are certain developments or changes that are taking place in the outside environment, the firm will have to adapt and respond accordingly. Okay, so objectives have to be interrelated between all the layers. Objectives can be multiple, they can be short term and long term, they can be specific or broader. These are all a part of what happens when the company decides, yes, we have a clear-cut plan to complete a particular set of tasks year by year. Break that down in terms of what should be done at every level, and this mission will ultimately lead to the vision. Okay, so the next aspect would be to look at the hierarchy of objectives.